皆さん、お稽古お疲れ様です and welcome back to Beyond the Dojo. I am very, very happy to first of all announce to you guys that the Kyoto Dojo has achieved 60 members. Thank you so much. If you remember, I think 2 episodes ago, I was saying that we have 58 members, but currently we have 60. I'm so grateful for everyone supporting our goal. Again, once we achieve 100 members, we're hoping to build. This is really hard for me to explain. Even in Japanese, I'm not trying to say I'm actually going to be building, building like a new dojo from scrap, but I do want to. It could be somewhere I'm going to be renting, I'm not too sure, but I'd want to have a place that everyone can come to all the time, anytime. So it's a place specifically for the Kyoto Dojo once we achieve 100 members. I am already contacting a lot of real estate companies, but of course, as I explained to you guys before, building that you can use for a dojo has just so many circumstances. It's really difficult to find. I mean, you need enough space. It needs to be in a good location. It needs to be somewhere that's not completely soundproof, but the neighbors have to, say okay to us training in kenjutsu, having, the bokutos hitting each other, the sounds like that. Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho isn't a ryuha style where we would shout or yell, while we were training, but still the bokutos, the wooden swords hitting each other, does make quite a lot of sound. So it has to be a place that allows us to do that, So we are already starting to look at some places, but we haven't been able to find somewhere good. But once we maybe achieve somewhere around 70 or 80, I think we definitely have to start seriously looking for somewhere. Otherwise, when we actually achieve 100 members, we probably won't be able to immediately start the dojo, right? But it is absolutely my goal to be able to have our own dojo during this year. As you guys know, by the way, as you've been seeing me in the videos of this podcast, yes, currently we're doing the training in the rental dance studios in Kyoto. So hopefully this year we'll be able to achieve that goal. Thank you so much for 60 members. All right. And also, yeah, speaking of 60, the reason why we were able to get to 60 is because we actually have one new in-person training member too. So the Kyoto Dojo in-person training currently has 9 members. We're almost close to 10. 10 is my goal right now, and we're very, very close to that. I believe there is one more person that's supposed to be coming soon. He's been contacting me, but I'm not too sure if he's exactly coming during March or is it going to be April? I'm not too sure. We're constantly, of course, trying to do everything we can to spread the word about the Kyoto Dojo. I think the biggest thing that will help the in-person dojo to grow is the seminar we're going to be holding in May. So every Golden Week in Japan, you guys might know about the Golden Week. It's a season. It's about a week in Japan that has a sequence of holidays. And so it's because there's so many holidays and days off, people call it the Golden Week in Japan. During the Golden Week every year, Seki Sensei and some of the assistant instructors, maybe the other members would too, come to Kyoto to take part in a lot of events because, there's so many holidays, a lot of big events regarding Budo happen in that timing. So we always hold a Hono Enbu, we call it. So it's a dedication performance we do to dedicate to the shrines. We dedicate a performance to the shrines. But Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho has a very good relationship with Shimogamo Shrine. I'm sure if you ever considered coming to Kyoto or Japan, you might have heard these names before. They're very famous, popular shrines. But Shimogamo Shrine, also Shiramine and Shimogamo Shrines have a very good relationship with our style, Asayama Ichiden-ryu. So they always give us permission to do the Enbu alongside other Ryuha styles as well. But this year, I think I am going to be on it's kind of hard to say, it's not on stage, but there's actually kind of like a stage kind of dojo place where we're going to be doing the Enbu. But I'm sure this year I think I will be on stage too to do the Enbu, which I am very, very nervous about because it's going to be almost my very first Enbu performance, dedication Enbu performance, I think. Yeah, but from this year, because I'm living in Kyoto and it's a Enbu performance done in Kyoto, so it's about time you start participating in this. I was like, if it's okay, if you say so, it'd be an honor, So, anyways, at this timing, he has a few extra days. So one of these days, May 3rd. If you are in Kyoto at that timing, if you're living in Kyoto or if you're traveling in Kyoto at that timing, we welcome everyone to come to the Kyoto seminar. But hopefully there'll be a lot of locals, Japanese participants too, who would like to come to the seminar thanks to Seki Sensei coming over to Kyoto at that timing. And it seems that a lot of people don't know about the existence of the Kyoto Dojo yet. So hopefully it'll be a really good opportunity for us to, spread the word and let more people know in Kyoto that we have this new dojo. And I think hopefully we'll be able to welcome new members after the event. So I'm really looking forward to that. For the online lessons, guys, there's only 15 more days left until the exam weekend. Yeah, from Friday to Monday, March 13th to 16th is going to be the 4 days of the online Dawn promotion exams. These exams are only held twice a year, so everyone's very, very nervous getting ready for it right now. There's only less than or almost about 2 weeks left before the exam, so we're all training very hard. I talked about my private online lessons that I recently started. 4 people have signed up for my private online lessons this week. 2 days ago, nighttime from 10:30 p.m. I had one class, and then yesterday, from what time is it? I think it was from around 8 a.m. to somewhere around noon. I was able to train with 3 more people doing the private lessons, trying to give as much feedback and advice I can through the trainings, and it's been a lot of fun. Everyone's doing very, very well, and they're all training very seriously. So I'm so excited about the exam, and also excited and also very scared and terrified because I will be taking the 4th Dan exam myself. If I pass the 4th Dan exam, as you guys see me in the video, I'm always wearing a green outer belt, right? This will turn into a brown outer belt finally. And next year, if I actually pass the 4th Dan exam this time, I will be able to pass the 5th Dan, take the 5th Dan exam next year. Hopefully, if I do pass, I'll finally be able to wear the black belt. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe. Now time is flying. I mean, just a few years ago, I haven't even started training in Asayama Ichiden-ryu yet, and I was just watching Seki Sensei in his videos saying that, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing sensei. I wish I was living in Ibaraki so I can go to his dojo. I was just, admiring him from a distance, if that makes sense. Yeah. And everything worked together from there, right? And we started the YouTube channel and everything, but I can't believe time is flying so much. But anyways, guys, today's main topic, as you can see in the thumbnail and the title, it's something that Seki Sensei has always talked about, often talks about it on online lessons, and I wanted to share with you about this concept. Let me try to get to the conclusion first. Asayama Ichiden-ryu is not going to change. Due to make it safer, nor because the instructors will age or get older. Okay, now let's start from the first half. Okay, what Seki Sensei means by Asayama Ichiden-ryu is not going to change to make it safer. Okay, as you know, probably a lot of modern Budo. Now, before I start talking, I want to make it very clear: we're not talking about which is better or bad or worse or stuff like that. Okay, it's every Budo, every form of Japanese traditional culture, every form, has its place, and it's for the community, for those people. So we're not saying which is better or worse or anything like that, okay? With that said, Asayama Ichiden-ryu is a Kobudo. Kobudo is a Budo martial art that was born before the Japan's westernization, the Meiji Restoration we call it, which happened around 1868. Before that, if the Budo or Ryu style was born before that, it's called a Kobudo. And Asayama Ichiden-ryu is very serious, Seki Sensei is very serious about keeping the traditions and carrying it on the way it is. That's the biggest promise he actually made with the 21st headmaster, Seki Sensei. So Seki Sensei, one of his last wishes to the next generation, which is Seki Sensei, the 22nd headmaster, he said, please do not change Asayama Ichiden-ryu to suit or match the modern values of Budo. Okay, this was one of the promises that Seki Sensei asked Seki Sensei to make with him. Yeah, and Seki Sensei is very serious about trying to keep this promise. So the thing is, a lot of the techniques that we practice in Asayama Ichiden-ryu are very dangerous. Okay, you guys remember I talked about I got injured, my finger was hit with one of the techniques, and something like that happened. Now, a lot of modern Budo, because the purpose is to spread the Budo for more people to train in it, becomes safer and safer and safer, and a lot of techniques change to make it safer. I'm sure if you've been practicing, for example, in Iaido and Kendo and Judo or these other martial arts, I'm sure you know about it. If you've been training for like 10 years or maybe like 2 decades and such, I'm sure you've been feeling some of the changes. Like for example, in Kendo, like thrust attacks, if you are a teenager, if you're a student, if you're training Kendo in school, thrust attacks are prohibited because it's too dangerous. Okay. In Iaido too, recently, some of the Seitei kata, the 12 standard katas trained in Iaido in the All Japan Kendo Federation, have changed to make it safer so that trainees don't accidentally stab themselves. There were some techniques, if they do it incorrectly, they would accidentally stab their arms or fingers and stuff like that. And they changed the katas so it'll be safer so people don't get injured. Okay? But Seki Sensei makes it very clear each time that Asayama Ichiden-ryu is not going to do that. Okay? Because Budo Kobudo at least, is a martial art. Martial arts are meant to be dangerous, obviously. It's a martial art. It is a form of art, but it's a martial art, right? So Asayama Ichiden-ryu is not going to change to make it easier. It's not going to change to make it safer to suit modern values. Okay? That's one of the beauty of Asayama Ichiden-ryu that I am very much drawn to. And I think a lot of the members that are drawn to Asayama Ichiden-ryu is due to that. And there's going to be more and more branch leaders in the future. I'm sure there are going to be more instructors, more black belts in the future. I think this concept, this idea is something that we really, all of us Asayama Ichiden-ryu trainees, we all need to remember that our main goal as a Kobudo-ka, not just a Budo-ka, but a Kobudo training, is that we must respect, cherish, and carry on these traditional teachings and techniques and not change it to match the modern views or values. Okay? So Asayama Ichiden is going to be dangerous. There are plenty of techniques. If the triangle, we say circle is the winning side, triangle is the losing side. If the triangle is not focused, if you're a millisecond late, sometimes you could get injured. That's how dangerous it is, and that's how it's supposed to be. Through those traditional techniques that was actually done in the past, there are a lot of important teachings and messages from our ancestors that can only be transferred to us, they can only be taught to us because we try to keep these techniques as traditional as possible. Okay? Now, of course, it's impossible to not change at all through time. I'm sure there are plenty of changes that happen throughout time, but still, we try our best to keep it as traditional as possible. And if it's dangerous, we learn how to dodge it. That's what training is about. We don't make the techniques to match us. We work hard to match ourselves to techniques, not vice versa. Okay, that's something that's really important when we train in Asayama Ichiden that we always keep in mind. And I always try to explain to myself too. So when I got injured in the Kyoto Dojo's training, I told my fellow trainee gentleman who comes to my training, I told him, please do not apologize. It is my fault that I got injured. It is also your fault too, but we trained together. Yeah, and this happens. Don't worry, my finger is still here. It's still moving. Yeah, it was very painful right after or a couple of days afterwards, but so what? Considering the 400 years of history and the next few hundred years that we want to carry on Asayama Ichiden-ryu, just one injury, one finger hit, maybe some, a little bit of bruises, a little bit of some people at the home, for example, they accidentally stabbed themselves, or a shower of blood in the dojo. Things like that happen. Okay. Now, of course, no one has died. No one has lost an arm, a limb, or anything. No fingers have dropped on the floor. Nothing like that ever happened. But we all need to be careful that if anything like that happens and we try to change Asayama Ichiden-ryu, then it's not Kobudo anymore. Okay? We all need to be very serious to stay safe and not get injured and be very focused during our training so none of those incidents happen and we never have to consider or no one having to think that we need to change our techniques to something safer. Okay? Otherwise, it won't be a Kobudo anymore. Okay? Kobudo has to be a Kobudo. If it starts changing to make it safer or to match modern views and values, then it's not that anymore. It's not Asayama Ichiden-ryu anymore. So we all have to always keep that in mind. Now, with that said, I'll say Seki Sensei mentioned one more very important thing about changing techniques and to not change it. A lot of the techniques taught by, for example, more senior instructors when they grow older, of course, their bodies won't move like when they could move when they were younger, right? Their knees might hurt, their back might hurt, all that kind of stuff, and you don't have that much energy compared to when you were in your 20s or 30s. And what happens, often cases, is that these instructors, because they don't want to embarrass themselves and say that, well, I actually can't do this technique anymore, they start changing it to make it easier so they can still do it. Things like that happen all the time, Seki Sensei said, and he said he never wants that to happen in Asayama Ichiden-ryu. Okay? So Seki Sensei said that there were a lot of techniques that Osaki Sensei, the 21st headmaster, said that I can't do this anymore, so I'll teach you how to do it, but I can't do it anymore, so please do it until I say it's okay. I know if you're doing it correctly or not. I can't show you a good example anymore, I'm very sorry, but I'll teach you how to do it, so please do it, and once you've done it correctly, I'll let you know, is how they trained. Yeah. So Osaki Sensei he was truly confident. He didn't have to show off. He didn't have to say that, I can still, I'm not old, I can still do this, and change techniques. He was very confident about his techniques. He was very confident that he was capable of doing these techniques, and he understands it. Yeah, and he is the representative of Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho, so he was confident enough to say, I can't do it anymore. Okay, so Seki Sensei said instructors all have to have that confidence. And by the time you reach that age, yeah, that you can't do certain techniques anymore, you have to already be raising enough students so they can do it for you. Okay? That's the goal, yeah, that's the responsibility of an instructor. Okay? So two things. To make it safer, to spread the style or whatever Budo it is, making it safer, and changing techniques to make it safer. Number two, changing the techniques so the instructors don't have to embarrass themselves, protect their pride. Yeah, these two things must never happen in Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho. I was looking back one of the lessons, our online lesson archives, and Sensei was talking about this, and I thought this is a really important concept, belief, principle, think that we need to share and discuss very often. We need to be very careful because these kind of things happen without realizing. Yeah, come to think of it, I think we're doing this a little bit differently because it's a bit dangerous, But being able to handle techniques that are dangerous is the whole point of training a martial art, isn't it? Yeah, we're not trying to make, hurt each other, of course. That's not the goal. Of course, the katas are created, first of all, to be able to train safely, okay? But of course, there are some dangerous points to it, but that is inevitable. That's how it's supposed to be, okay? And for the techniques, when you get older too, if you can't do it anymore, you need to be honest, okay? You need to accept yourself that you can't do it anymore, and by then you need to have raised enough students that can do those techniques for you. The next generation, they can do those techniques for you. Okay? I think these are very important concepts that are hardly discussed in the world of Japanese traditional culture. It's not just Budo though, to be honest. I mean, I train in tea ceremony and no theater and things like that too, right? There are a lot of instructors who are not confident enough to say, they don't accept themselves enough to say that I can't do this anymore, so please, you guys do it. I can't do it anymore. It's very embarrassing to say, and it's very frustrating, I'm sure. Yeah, because all these instructors, I'm sure they were doing amazing when they were younger, and they grow older, and they have to accept that their body is not moving anymore. They don't have enough muscles, for example. Their body parts are hurting, and it's very, I guess frustrating would be the right word, to have to admit that they can't do these things anymore. But that's necessary, okay? And to be able to do that, you need to train a lot when you're young, to be able to be confident enough to say when you grow older that I was able to do this. I am a person who was capable of doing this. I can't do this now though due to age, and that's inevitable. You need to be able to accept that. So I think these are very important, that we all keep it in our hearts, especially the trainees of Asayama Ichiden-ryu. We all keep this in heart, that we all respect the traditions, the techniques that were brought down for a few hundred years, and we shall never change the techniques to match us, but we need to train to be able to match ourselves to the techniques, and that is the whole point of training. Okay? Alright guys, thank you so much. Then I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Oh, by the way, if you ever felt something similar through your own training, or if you're already training Asayama Ichiden-ryu, please share your thoughts. It'd be great if we can have a nice Budo conversation in the comments. Okay? Alright guys, thank you so much. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye-bye.